What's going on, guys? Today we've got part 2 of Let Me Rate Your Fragrance Collection, and I'm excited to get it cracking. But before we dive in, check out that new intro. All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. It's a beautiful day out here in these streets, and guess what? I'm going to be looking at your guys' fragrance collection today. We are on wave 2. Hopefully we can make this a multi-part series where we just constantly have people send in fragrances from their collection to have me rate their collection. And this really isn't about me giving you like a A, B, or C score or something like that. It's really for me to learn about my community and see what fragrances you have, maybe where you're at in your journey, and maybe I can make some recommendations on how you can improve it, or, maybe you're just good as is. I know a lot of viewers on the channel have crazy collections. Some are just starting out, and all of you guys are of all age groups and backgrounds and all that good stuff. So today I'm going to look at a few of the viewers from our channel, and yeah, man, if you guys are interested in submitting, you can always take a phone picture of your collection and send it to scentbubblesubmit@gmail.com. Again, that's scentbubblesubmit@gmail.com. We're going to go ahead and get cracking. Let's get to that split screen real quick. Now I'm in my spaceship. We're in the cockpit, and we are going to get cracking. First person, we have, again, some of these, the names might not be like their actual first name or whatever. It might just be their name that I know them as on YouTube. But let's get it cracking. First one, this is from Amandeep Sin, or Singe. I'm not sure how you say that. Singh, maybe. He's a viewer from the channel, and we are going to take a look at his collection. It doesn't look like it's hanging up anywhere. Maybe he just took his fragrances out and laid them on the bed or on the ground or something like that. So let's see what I can recognize, and maybe I can speak a little bit to this collection. So this person's maybe just starting out. It looks like we're dealing with a majority of inspirations. I don't want to say clones or dupes these days. I don't know if YouTube's penalizing that due to people getting, upset online from fragrance houses that there's all this competition in the game now. I don't know what this fragrance is. Oh, good. My mouse shows up. I don't know what this fragrance is. Can we zoom in on it? Yeah, don't know what that is, but definitely a Middle Eastern fragrance, as well as most of these. I don't know what this one is. Is this a Cuba Gold? It is. I'm not very familiar with this one. Original by Parfums de Champs. Yeah, so I'm not familiar with that one either. A couple of these I'm not really familiar with. Rue Barocca's Theorem. Haven't really put my nose to that yet, but I am familiar with the name. I forgot what this one is. Maybe someone can put in the comments which fragrance this is. This green one actually right here. But anyways, let's go ahead and zoom out. What do I recognize for sure, though? I see Off and On 9 p.m., Club de Nuit Intense Man, Lattafa Liam Gray, Sacrat. He's got 2 9 p.m., so it looks like that one might be one that he quite favors. We've got, I believe this is a Sauvage, maybe a Maison Alhambra. Yeah, there's the little deer. Maison Alhambra Salvo, which I think is Dior Sauvage. Don't know what this one is either. So some recognizable ones. Derige Pour-Homme, familiar with that one as well. I give this, the rating of this collection, I don't know, maybe average or below average, like a 7 or 6. Looks like this person's just getting started in their fragrance journey, maybe just now learning kind of about the clones, dupes, and inspireds. But nonetheless, there are some hitters here. You have Hawass for your everyday wear, your 9 p.m.s kind of for date night / playful casual, your upscale with, Club de Nuit Intense Man, which I don't think you can ever miss with. We talk a lot of times on this channel about what's the best and what's the best rendition to get. I think anything from the Club de Nuit line as far as Aventus is concerned is solid. A little bit of Liam Gray, that's probably the most unique one in this set just because DNA-wise it's so different. Sacrat, I always recommend Sacrat as the most versatile wear because it's cloning Acqua di Gio, Profumo, and then just a lot of fresh fragrances. So fresh fragrances, maybe 1 or 2 upscales, and some date night-esque, but this person seems to be maybe a little bit young. It's kind of hard to tell. The 9 p.m. leads me to suggest that this person's young, but there are older men who wear 9 p.m. as well. You know, when you contrast that with the fact that he has a lot of fresh fragrances, as well as the Club de Nuit Intense Man, the Sacrat, things like that, that tends to make me think that maybe this is an older gentleman that's just getting started in their fragrance journey and looking at reviews and whatnot. Where do I think this person should go next? There's clearly a lot of fresh citric based fragrances and a lot of the common heavy hitters. So I might tend to, it's hard to say. There's not really any designer. I think Rue Barocca might be a designer. I forget whether that's clone or not, but maybe definitely get into some designer fragrances. I think even from a discounter standpoint, maybe get into some Ferragamo. You know, that's some nice $20 to $40 fragrances, you know, something like a F Black or Uomo Signature, or a red or bright leather. Really easy to jump into that line. Maybe Bentley, maybe Lalique. Those are all $20 to $40 fragrances where they're the same price as the inspirations and clones and stuff, but you can get your hands on some designer. And in my opinion, some of that designer is made by perfumers that have previously worked on niche fragrances. So it's a little lopsided in the inspiration category. I would say definitely move into some designer, and then maybe at this point, with how many bottles you have, treat yourself to a niche bottle. You know, a real easy niche introductory house to get into is Mancera, because on discounters you can get a lot of the fragrances between $70 and $100. So maybe throw some Instant Crush in here, you know, more of a true playful / date night fragrance, or the vanilla fragrance from Mancera. You know, Cedrat Boisé Intense. And again, from the designer category, Lalique, Bentley, or Ferragamo would be some definitely good transitions, because you don't really have to price hike to get into that stuff. It definitely looks like you have enough clones, but some things to consider. I give this about a 6 out of 10, just getting started. And let's move on. Next up, we have Bogdan, who's got quite a bit of fragrances here, maybe double the amount of the previous. We got a lot from Amir Paris Corner, some Club de Nuit, got some old school fragrances, Detour Noir, some Fahrenheit, Gray Flannel. So this is definitely kind of a starter pack that's starting to evolve into some more complex DNAs. We got the Detour Noir, we got the Cedrat Essence, Encre Noir, starting to really kind of branch out a little bit, some Bentley in there. Really nice collection here. And we've even got some, is this Mancera right here? I think this is Mancera, but it looks like Montera. Oh, Instant Love. So that's a clone of Mancera. Gotcha. Yeah, man. So this collection I would give probably closer to a 7. It's like an average collection, but he's got a lot of hitters. He's got fresh, he's got spicy, he's got date night. We've got some unique fragrances. We've got some old school classics. And then there's some attempts to get up into some more upscale, you know, Rare Carbon, Instant Crush, Encre Noir Sport. Those are some more mature wares. Assad, things like that. Gary's Den. You got to love that. But yeah, I would give kind of the same suggestion to this, even though it's a 7 out of 10 for me, just because there's more versatility there. Definitely treat yourself to some designer, because it's going to be the same price as these. Again, the top 3 designers I think I can recommend right now is Ferragamo, Bentley, and Lalique. Real easy to transition to. You can get a little bit better performance or better DNAs and stuff like that. Again, the assumption is not that by going to designer and niche you get better fragrances or better performance, but it is a suggestion, because you can get those elements out of particular fragrances. So definitely watch my channel in terms of what designer you might want to mess with. But if you want to stay in the clone category, that's cool too. I would just recommend, you know, you continue to branch out in this. But once you start to hit like 20 fragrances, you really should start kind of getting some balance to the collection with at least one solid niche fragrance and maybe a couple of designers, because at that point they're the same price as the clones. But I digress. You know, we've got some Cool Water here as well. Good little collection here. From a DNA standpoint, it's quite balanced. We have date night, fresh, interesting, you know, easy to wear, some unique stuff. And yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. That was Bogdan. next up, we have Jason G. And I like this display. Props on the display of the fragrances. You can really appreciate them as individuals when you're thinking about what you want to wear. A lot of people like to categorize their fragrances, but I don't always think that that's necessary, because when you throw stuff into boxes, you start to kind of assume what's better or worse than one another, and you kind of start to have preconceived notions before you even go into your collection, which winds up leading to you not really wearing all your fragrances as much as you should. So I like that each of these kind of gets an individuality, so that each time you look at this collection, you can get into it. I love that dark door up top. I think that's Dior Sport, if I'm not mistaken. He's got some designer in here with the Valentino Uomo 9 p.m., Detour Noir, Camera, Fakar Black, which is your YSLY EDP. A lot of clonery here, but there are some designers, so I can appreciate that. That Drakkar Intense is definitely fire. Drakkar Noir, so we've got some Fougere, Curve, Cremo, Davidoff, you know, Assad Zanzibar, Polo Red. We've got some good stuff here. I can't hate on this. I think this has just as much versatility as the last guy. But again, I would give this about a 7. Average collection, but a lot of versatility and utility to this. And I would just recommend, again, still playing in the designer category and branching that part of the collection out. And I think you're at the point with this many fragrances, sitting around 20 here, where, you know, you should treat yourself to some entry-level niche perfumery. Maybe some Dior, maybe some Tom Ford, maybe some Mancera. All those sit around the 70 to 120 price point, and then you're just going to have a much better formulation. So, you know, if you're messing with Mancera, you have Cedrop Boisé Intense, you have Instant Crush, you have Red Tobacco, you've got Cafe Amour, you've got Pearl, you've got I almost said Jadoub, but I meant to say there's some fruity fragrance, I forget. It's an exclusive, but nonetheless. Then you have Bentley, you have Black Edition, you have Absolute, you have Bentley Fermented Intense, you have Azure, you have Unlimited. There's just so much variety. Ferragamo, F Black, Uomo Signature, Red Leather, Bright Leather, F Sport, or not F Sport, F Black, and there's a sportier one. I forget what that's called, Aqua or Playtime or something like that. But anyways, so just definitely start branching out in designer, and don't feel bad treating yourself to some niche, because at this point with this collection, you can go into a niche fragrance for just the price of 2 clones here, or 2 designers. So something to consider. I give it a 7 out of 10. All right, next up, my boy Trey Fragrance here with a nice collection here. Off bat, I haven't even read any fragrances, but I would already give this about an 8 or a 9 just from the visual. We've got some clones in here, but this kind of looks like mostly a designer collection. We've got Aqua di Gio, we've got Prada, Victor and Rolf, Valentino, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Armani, Clinique, S-Boy. There's just a lot going on here. We've got Sauvage, it looks like, up here. I might be wrong about that, but nonetheless. And then we've got some clones, like we've got Sacrat, it looks like, in here. Ooh, excuse me for a second. We've got Bleu de Chanel. We've got travel sprays. So this at least gets an 8, but I tend to lean towards a 9 just because of the versatility. He's staying in the designer, but then it sounds like he started in the designer category and then started branching down into some inspireds, and even in some cases is starting to maybe just now start to go into some niche perfumery. I know Trey, and I know he's picked up some Mancera recently. But there's just good versatility DNA-wise in this collection. A lot of fun stuff. The Coach, the Phantom, the Dolce & Gabbana, you know, the One, light blue. I love this, a lot of the Lattafa in here, even some Jimmy Choo. So great collection here. A lot of fun wears, a lot of experimenting going on, maybe some blind buying even. We've got some decants here. Excellent collection. You know, with this many bottles, you should really start to consider going to TJ Maxx or Ross or Amazon.com and getting a display for something like this. You know, get a bookshelf, Maybe get a double stack rack. You know, for those of you guys who have seen my new rack for my collection, I think I got it for $60 and it's a 6-tier bookshelf. So I did that and then bought like a $10 lighting kit and I'm off to the races. So it doesn't cost that much to move into some shelving. I would say probably like 30, $40. And then if you want to go up to 100, you could get something more elaborate. I think right now you should kind of go big, you know, spend 50 to $100, have some extra blank shelves in your collection because clearly you're a collector here. And that way you leave some room to kind of build the stack. But as far as DNA is concerned, plenty of utility, plenty of experimentation going on, starting in kind of the mid-tier of designer and then working your way down and up. And you've got a lot of classics here, you know, 1 Million, S-Boy, Jimmy Choo, Prada Luna Rossa Ocean, Blue de Chanel, Proc Rabanne, Phantom, 1 Million, Mercedes-Benz Black, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Multiples, Armani. So, you know, and then you've just sprinkled some clones in here. So that's really nice. So Trey for sure. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Very good collection, well into his fragrance journey, and it looks good. So 4 people left here. We've got SoCal. He's got 2 pictures. Can I actually view it? Okay, so this looks like the same picture. So very nice here. We've got some Greenlee clones, Bright Leather, Odyssey, Maj Mule, Iconic, Al Haramain, Lalique. I love to see some Lalique in there. You could definitely tell he watches the channel. Cayenne Classic, Jean Lowe, Dolce & Gabbana K, Off Not Supremacy line, Tarathi Blue, Bentley. This is my kind of collection here. You know, a mixture of designer slash what I would call designer but niche DNAs. And it's a mix of clones and designer. So this is similar to Trey's collection, only it's got some other, you know, unique DNAs. I love seeing that La Yukawam in the corner there. Is this Kamra or Kamra Kawa? It's Kawa. Beautiful. The whole Encre Noir line, that Ombre Noir, extra brownie points for that. So even though this collection is smaller than Trey's, I would still lean towards giving it an 8 or a 9 because of the versatility here. A lot of unique fragrances. He's got Phaeton. You know what I'm saying? That Moscow, that Killian clone, the Mandarin Sky, the Celestial. You know, so we've got Dior, we've got Fougere, we've got Fresh, we've got Sweet, we've got Holiday, we've got Unique. You know, it's got some Bentley in there. Just a lot of great versatility to this. So even though the collection is smaller, you still got about 25 fragrances here, and they're all bangers. I forget what Aether is. Is that a Greenlee or Lafayette Street clone, something like that? Your Phaeton, which is your Terre de Hermes. Just a lot of great stuff here. 8 or 9 out of 10, 100%. Beautiful in your journey. Keep going. He's got some test strips in here. Take a look at that. Some decants. So he's mixing it up. You know, he's not FOMO'd out. This is just a nice, solid, versatile, you know, I wouldn't really call it a starter kit. I would say it's getting more into the advanced category. So props to you on that. This is a great looking collection from my man SoCal. Next up, we're almost towards the end here. We've got Manav, and we've got here some Maison Alhambra. A lot of Maison Alhambra, actually. Some Latafa. You know, we've got Phaeton. A lot of these fragrances I don't necessarily recognize. Club de Nuit, some designer, Cayenne Classic. So this person's got fruity, fresh, leather, sophisticated fragrances. And this is beautiful. This is beautiful. We got Date Night. We've got Loud Projection with the Fakar, the Assad. This Killian one in the back. Which one is that? I can't tell whether that's Kawa. It's white, though, it looks like. So that might be On the Rocks or something. I forget which one it is. But beautiful collection here. Definitely starter kit. We give this more of like a 7 because it's got some good versatility, but it's staying in the clone category. And just to make mention on Trey's collection, I would definitely start moving up into niche at this point. And then with SoCal, I would say SoCal's collection, definitely start treating yourself to some niche, but there's definitely plenty of room to play in the designer and clone category. But yeah, with Manav, I would highly just suggest that you start playing more in the designer category. There's a lot of room for designer growth here. Obviously, you're just getting started in your clone journey, but you're quite established with it. And again, the designer prices are the same as the clones in many cases. So definitely get some designer in your life and look to some of my videos for some inspiration there. Second to last up, we've got Jag. Jag's just getting started in his fragrance collection. Is that Versace Eros Flame? It is. Eros Flame, Tarathi Blue, Mont Blanc, Hawass, Camera, Cremo, Versace, Fakar. What is this? Some Latafa, Burberry, Versace Hawass Ice. I love to see that. Nautica Voyage, beautiful. Assad. We've got Patrick from SpongeBob, off now 9 p.m. So this is mostly fresh and intimate fragrances. So I would love to see some branch off into the designer category to build this collection. I would give this probably closer to a 6 out of 10 starter kit though, but he's got some solid stuff. There's really room for you to grow here in a lot of ways. You know, maybe some green fragrances, maybe some more seductive fragrances. Maybe play in the fresh category and start going off to something other than fresh citrus and linen type fragrances. Because you're kind of covering some date nights bangers and mostly freshies. Some playfulness with that Versace Flame. But yeah, I mean, there's so much room here to play with some designers and also to just further your clone collection since you are comfortable going there. I don't think this person's ready for niche yet, just because the price point wouldn't really justify it. But definitely keep going in the designer and clone category and build this collection out. I give it a 6 out of 10, slightly below average. But with what you do have, you've got everyday wear fragrances, some date night, some holiday, and that's cool. Okay, lastly, we're going to finish off with my boy Chris Siage here. Beautiful, a lot of designer. Some sprinklings of some clones. We're getting up in niche territory with the replica. So this is kind of like a slightly advanced designer. I'd give this collection an 8 or a 9 as well. Again, smaller amount of fragrances than someone like Trey, but with what you do have, these are absolute bangers. That Brioni, the Jean Paul Gaultier, the Dior Homme Intense, Ferragamo, Versace. Oh, we do have some Parfums de Marly in here. So, and we have some Mancera. So this is well balanced. So it's mostly a designer heavy collection with some sprinkling of some niche and some sprinkling of some clonery. So this is quite similar to Trey's collection, but it just goes in some different directions. But there are a lot of similarities here. This is a person who really fixates on DNAs and stuff and kind of goes after very specific offerings. We've even got some Xerjoff here. So that's lovely. You love to see it. I give this at least an 8 or a 9 because even though there's not a ton of fragrances, there's absolute bangers. Bleu de Chanel, Brioni, Dior Homme, Ferragamo, YSL. Looks like there might be some Prada in here. Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. We've got some niche. Gucci Guilty. This is a great collection. Nothing but respect for this. This is bangers. Even some Fahrenheit. I love that. So it looks like a lot of seductive fragrances. Some fresh fragrances. But mostly seductive / upscale. I would imagine that replica is probably by the fireplace or jazz club or something like that. But yeah, a lot of nice seductive fragrances mixed with fresh. We got Paradise Garden. Lovely. Some Latafa. This is a really solid collection, guys. I give it maybe an 8/9. just for the versatility. We've got some upscale. He's got the Versace Dreamer in there, so that's good to see. Some Calvin Klein even. So this is a person that buys quite specifically. He knows what he wants. Maybe some experimenting in here, but very direct as well. Some Versace Hawass. I think Chris even has the entire Versace line minus Vuitton, so that's good to see as well. So about an 8 or a 9 out of 10 as well on that collection. All right, guys. Recommendations for that last collector, Chris Siage. I would just say continue with your intentional habits with your search. You know, there's plenty of room to branch into some inspirations. Designer looks like there's even room for like DNA versatility with fresh and unique. You can kind of tap into that bag a little more. Even with your fresh fragrances, maybe looking into some more 2 or 3 dimensional fragrances where it's not just citruses, aquatics, or citruses on woods, but trying to branch out on stuff. Definitely mess with some Ferragamo, Bentley, and Lalique to get kind of niche level designer DNAs into that collection. And then continue with your branch off into niche. You know, this person's not afraid to spend some money. You know, just keep doing your research and that'll be all good. Thank you guys so much for everybody who submitted. Again, if you submitted to me, but I missed your stuff because you might have texted me or emailed me and I just didn't see it, or I know some of you guys have DM'd me on Instagram as well, just put it in the comments and I'll slap you on to episode 3. I'm going to try doing these a lot more frequently. Good stuff today, guys. No 10s, but I don't think, you know, it's hard to give people 10s because for 10s based off my nose, you would just really have to have a really extensive, well-rounded blend and some shocker fragrances that I feel like are more star-studded, but definitely plenty of 9s from the group today and some people starting off. And I think that's what's good about this community is you saw we had some guys just getting started. Everybody's kind of playing in the designer and inspiration category. And then some people are just getting started in niche. There's not a lot of extensive niche collection. I know offhand that I didn't do Greenlee's collection, which is extremely niche heavy. I want to kind of save his for adding it to a group that's, you know, more niche heavy like he is. So we'll get to that on the next episode. But I appreciate you guys for submitting. I love getting to learn more about my community. If you guys have any questions, because I know I didn't go into crazy detail on the collections as far as recommendations and stuff like that, just to kind of get this episode out to you because we're already cracking 30 minutes. But definitely let me know if I reviewed your collection and if you have any questions about it. And, you know, definitely tap in. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. We drop episodes every single day. And this is the Scent Bubble rating your fragrance collections. All right? Y'all be blessed. Until next time, peace.